come join me as we're going to do a version of House Hunters, but for my bike shop and a retail space. So I guess we're going to kind of do retail hunters for where I'm going to set up a bike space, bike shop space. So we're going to look at 4 different areas. I'm really interested what everybody else thinks about these locations where we're looking at to set up a bicycle shop, a gograva shop. So stay tuned and we'll get into my needs, what I need exactly. And we're actually gonna go to those 4 locations now and take a look at them. And so you can see what I see. All right, here we go. All right, so as we're heading down the road, let's do 4 areas for some background. Now, first area for some background is that I gotta rent a space. There's no way I'm gonna be able to purchase a commercial real estate space or anything like that because 1, I don't have a job. gograva is my job, and gograva is not making enough money. I'd be laughed out of the bank if I tried to get a commercial space or at least a loan for a commercial space, which I know is the best way to do it for a business because of all the tax benefits and the assets and liabilities and all those things. So number 1, I got to rent for now. Number 2 is that, we have gograva.com online website. We have Instagram and made a store, so the Instagram store. So we have that shop online, so that's number 2. And then I have a TikTok shop, so that's number 3, hopefully a YouTube shop here. But even with all of that, I can't get a wholesale license. I can't get a commercial license. I can't work with the wholesalers like Schramm, Shimano, QBP, unless I actually have a store or a warehouse where I'm building bicycles. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Now, I'm not going to do a warehouse because honestly, man, I can get a storage facility for less than $1 a square foot. And a retail space really gives me the option to sell online and be more embedded in the community by doing classes on site on bike maintenance, group rides, or things like that. So that's number 2. So let's talk about number 3. Okay, so number 3, we want to get back to the basics, right, of a bike shop, which means that we're talking about I want enough room to put maybe 2 mechanic stations, so I can rent out a mechanic station if somebody wants to use our spot to fix their own bike. That would be really cool to do. And not only that, we have enough room to do classes inside the bike shop where we go back to the basics, teaching people how to clean their chain, how to replace their brakes, how to tune their derailleur, really focusing on that 20-year-old demographic that we need to be focusing on, which is the next generation of bicycle riders. So we have enough room inside where people can sit down, relax, and it's not just a standing room only bicycle shop where you make a sale and then you get out the door. You actually have room to bring in a cup of coffee, maybe chat for a bit. I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot for thinking that. You bike shop owners can let me know. And then lastly, we have a parking lot where we can set up demos for bike packing, how to get your bike packing gear onto your bike, maybe do some courses on how to turn properly on gravel, how to ride your bike, and maybe even bring in some VIP guests that I know to do some interviews or do some classes and bring those professional bike riders out or those coaches. That's where I see gograva. So lastly, we look at number 4, which is kind of renting a retail space. So right here we have an empty retail space, right? And this shop, most of these shops that I'm going to look at are 30 to 40, maybe even 50% empty. So when you're helping me make a decision, I want you to have all the information about how we rent retail spaces. And so basically a retail space is rented by square foot per year. So if we have something that's 1,200 square feet and it's $10 per square foot, 10 times 1,200 would be 12,000. Divided by 12 months, that would be $1,000 a month per year. Then the other thing we have to talk about is triple net. Everything I've been dealing with is triple net this, triple net that. What that means is you're paying, whoever owns this shopping center, you're paying your portion per square footage for the insurance and the maintenance, building maintenance, and the parking lot maintenance, and you're also paying the tax obligation for all of that. So you're paying most of the commercial spaces overhead costs. Now I understand this from a business perspective because this is what you call variable costs, and it's hard to control variable costs, and so they do the square footage and then break off the variable costs a bit differently. So let's go ahead and look at our first space. This is number 1 space for gograva bike shop. Okay, commercial space number 1 is kind of off of the freeway a bit, and this one's about 30% empty. Now, I've seen over the past 10 years a lot of companies coming out of here, gone out of business, but they're still doing construction in this area, and it's not a bad space, but we've lost a lot of shopping centers in this retail space. So the location is not perfect. It's kind of, you got to drive out of your way to get here to a certain extent. It's on the edge of the shopping district. All right, so location number 1 is the nicest location. It is the newest location that we're going to look at today. So we are looking at like roughly 750 square feet, what used to be a jewelry store. And so I have some images of this. All right, so we're inside what used to be a jewelry store looking at a commercial space. And this is not a bad fit if you wanted to create a bike shop or do something like this. You know, we got, what is it, Luke, 700 square feet? 782 square feet for this space. There's already lighting in place. I could do a lot with this space in here. It's carpeted, so not a lot of work to do besides just removing some of the jewelry store things that we have. And in the back, there's a bathroom and there's a side office space. So has everything that I would need to do a commercial space for our bicycle shop. And then it will allow me an opportunity to sell in person and not just online. So this is just the first stop I'm making. Roughly, it's going to be $18 a square foot, and triple net, I don't know. See, they don't tell me everything when I go and look at these places, like what triple net is, because I think it's a variable rate cost. So let's just say everything for triple net's like $500 a month for triple net. And the problem is it's a bit small. It would be hard for me to do everything I want to do, but it has a great parking lot out here, and it's a really nice location. And even though gograva is kind of off the beaten path a bit, it is a destination area, and people would come to a bike shop as a destination. So what do you think? This is location number 1, $18 a square foot, about 750 square feet in what used to be a jewelry store, in off the beaten path edge of the shopping district. Okay, good. Let's go look at number 2. Okay, our number 2 destination is a shopping center. Old shopping mall that is completely, like all of them, falling apart unless they're upper echelon shopping centers. But it's a possibility here. You know, I grew up with these as a kid, but they've just really fallen out of favor. Nobody comes into these shopping centers anymore, and they're really just dying. So, you know, upkeep's not the greatest, but I tell you, it has tremendous potential, especially for a bike shop, because this parking lot is freaking massive. Imagine what you could do with the parking you have here, with bike races, events, things like that. I mean, you could really kind of breathe some life back into this area possibly. So the shopping center, we're going to go inside and take a look at it. It's roughly 50% empty, which means it should work in my favor for negotiating a space. So let's go inside, take a look. The shopping center, kind of dying shopping center, but there are some areas we don't have access to the buildings, but really we're looking for a space to put bicycles up, like I said before, where we can do things like 2 mechanic shops and things like that. So let me turn this off because the music is so loud I don't want to get hit with the copyright, but let's take a look inside. All right, so there's opportunities in this shopping center. You know, you get some foot traffic. We only have 1 anchor store left in Berkshire Mall, which is Boscov's. The other 2 anchor stores are gone, so there's all that square footage that's open, and there's a bunch of just random spots open. Like I said, this place is probably 50% empty, but imagine what you could do with this place in the winter with kids riding bikes and things like that. So the other thing we're not noticing about these other shopping malls that are kind of deteriorating is that not every store is open during the shopping mall hours, which is great because I in the beginning, I can't staff it but besides myself. So it's useful to kind of not have to worry about keeping the store open during all the hours that the mall's open, at least initially. And again, we got another big space here that's open. So I'm really curious, man, if I could get this, let's say we could get a spot for maybe 6, 7, 8 $10 a square foot, this might not be a bad idea. Let's take a look inside. And that's a pretty decent sized space. You could do a lot in there. Problem I'll have is I can't fill it all up with inventory in the beginning. That would be very expensive to fill the whole thing up, but I could grow into it. So the mall is an idea. Okay, we're gonna walk out the other side of the mall, just because I want to show you how huge this freaking parking lot is. Berkshire Mall, massive parking lot. You could run a crit race just on this side of the parking lot, because it goes all the way down there, and then it comes, you can come back around, it goes all the way down there. I mean, it's like a half-mile stretch on either side of the mall. Hell, you could even run a bicycle race through the mall, which would be really fun to do. So getting a spot in the shopping mall not a bad idea, really, if the prices are right. You know, if we're looking at 2,000 square feet that we can get under, you know, something like something like $10 a square foot, and the triple net's not too bad, then not a bad idea, or at least something you consider when you're looking at a retail space in the local area. Okay, last thing to consider, so some of these big shopping centers, these big anchor stores have closed. I might be able to get some used furniture here no matter where I go, but like, let's take a look. You look inside here, man, they got all this used furniture just still sitting here inside what used to be a big anchor store. So it might be an opportunity to get some stuff really cheap, used, that I use to set up my store. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to number 3, location number 3. Hey everybody, I'm gonna do a quick pause for the cause here as I go in between places. You know, if you were in a grocery store, or you got a pharmacy, or you got a gas station and stuff like that, you're doing good. But man, I'm telling you, as I've been searching around these retail spaces, you're looking at 30 to 50% vacancy rate everywhere. People closing down everywhere over this past year. And it's a bit intimidating, right? Because a bike shop is a discretionary spending category. But sometimes, you know, the time to strike is when everything is falling apart. That is when you get your best deals. You have the upper hand to negotiate and things like that. But we'll see how it goes. Let's keep going down the road to our next stop. All right, we're at location number 3, and let's just do a quick summary here real quick of what we looked at. So option 1, which is the newer shopping center, about $18 a square foot. I could get a space for 750 square feet or 780 square feet. The shopping center, now for argument's case and to make it easier to make a decision, let's say the shopping center, we can only get them down to $15 a square foot, because they would rather leave the place empty than make any money at all, okay? So our next spot, number 3 here, is very much older shopping center, kind of out of the way. Now there's a freeway entrance near here, but this is kind of out of the way. There's not much here. There used to be a Kmart, and there's a dollar store, and there's a workout place, and there's 2 closed banks. So this place is also 30% empty. But let's say we could get this place at $12 a square foot. So let's go take a look. So as you can see, we have a grocery outlet and a Dollar Tree, and then a barbershop, burrito place, and a Domino's Pizza. So there is some foot traffic and great big expansive parking lot. We could do a lot with this parking lot. And there's a gym down the road where we might be able to get a partnership with the gym and our bicycle shop. And again, we're trying to find new ways to do things as a bicycle shop, right? So this space up here is 1,200 square feet. So $12 a square foot maybe with triple net, and just a rectangular space next to the barbershop. So let's take a look. So it's hard to see, but right there you can see it's just a rectangular space. I'm not sure if they closed on it yet, but there's a bathroom, everything you need in there, and access to an outside door. And so not a bad spot, and this is really close to my house too. Easily ride my bike here and commute to work that way. My house is only maybe 3 miles away from this location. So that's location number 3. Let's go to location number 4, our last location, which is kind of a little bit out of the way and an interesting concept to think about. And we're at our final and most interesting stop, which is in a completely different area, maybe 3 or 4 miles from number 3. Much older plaza, and the demographics in this area are going to be a lot, income levels are going to be lower than the other 3 areas that we looked at. So that's a consideration. But it's got a parking lot. We got Family Dollar over there, a couple other small shops like a Wingstop, a DMV center, liquor store, pet supplies, and Planet Fitness with the Rite Aid on the corner. So let's go and look at what makes this one quite unique as a place for a retail spot. Okay, so we are actually going to be back in behind the shopping center. So the downside of this is we're not on the storefront, but we have a commercial address, which is useful. The other great thing about this is this is 1 year, possibly 1 year rent-free, but it comes with some problems. And we'll take a look inside. So it's hard to see that, but we do have a bit of drywall, but it's just concrete blocks on the left-hand side. There is no toilet. There's an HVAC system. We don't know if it works. There's no flooring. There's really nothing in here. This is just basically a warehouse space that could be utilized. And we're not building a storefront there. So I know that 1 year free rent comes with conditions. Those conditions may be that I have to fix it up, make a storefront out of it. I got to put it in the bathroom, things like that. But this would be the cheapest option. I get a commercial address, I get a space to work, and a space to ship out of, but I won't have a retail space right away. That's the only problem. No immediate retail space, and I'm still selling online, and I really, me personally, kind of want that retail space. I think it's something that could really help kick us off, at least give us sales, and the foot traffic's not great here, so just something to consider. So let's review it. Pretty much went from highest to lowest. Number 1 is the more new center. It's kind of out of the way on the edge of the shopping area. $18 a square foot, smaller space, used to be a jewelry store, or shopping mall with many, many options. Let's say they're $15 a square foot. A lot of foot traffic, a lot of parking lot space, a lot you can do, and multiple different sizes of shops you could pick from. Number 3 is the bit further out of the way shopping center where they used to have a Kmart, but they have the Domino's Pizza, 1,200 square foot rectangle. Not bad, maybe $12 a square foot. And then number 4 is a space that's rent-free for a year. So if you think the economy is going to crash next year, that might be your best option because it protects you for a year, but who knows what the other conditions are. So I know you don't have a lot of information, but what would you choose for your space if you were going to open a bike shop? I don't know what I'm choosing yet, but I'll do a follow-up video maybe at the end of January, maybe beginning of February, and let everybody know what I chose to go with for the first gograva retail location. All right, that's it, man. Driving around town, having a blast. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more information. Check out our store, gograva.com. Help support the company if you want. Buy a hat, buy a hoodie right now in winter. And we have bikes coming soon. We'll be at the Philly Bike Expo March 16th. So if you're there at the Philly Bike Expo, make sure to stop by and say hi. All right, everybody. Bye.